Welcome to the InfoMullet YouTube channel. If you enjoy this content, please like or share. And if you'd like to support the InfoMullet by becoming a mulleteer, visit us on Patreon. We appreciate your support. This one's going to be controversial. Maybe. Question number 5. How does former President Trump fare in 2021? I am saying right now that I don't think President Trump's going to be alive by the end of 2021. It's controversial, I know. It's a bold forecast. Probably going to end up regretting it. But everyone's worried about what Trump's going to do and what's going to happen. I'm saying the guy's not going to live past 2021. He's not going to make it. It's not that there's an assassination or anything like that. Don't get it twisted. What it is, though, is that, look, this guy has lived off this almost addiction-like daily center of attention for 4 years. I mean, first of all, take Trump out of the equation. Look at any picture of a U.S. president from the start of their first term to the end of their first term. They don't look so hot. They don't do so well after the stress of this job. It's a very stressful job. Now look at President Trump, who lives on attention, he thrives on attention, and he has managed to be the most talked about thing, bar none, for the entire 4 years in office. Not just overall, but literally like every day he's out there doing stuff. And I sense that this is going to be like when he loses power, the letdown from that is going to be very similar to when somebody has a spouse that passes and they're old, they're in their senior years, they're in their 80s or their late 70s, and they have a spouse that they have, and they just don't have that support anymore, and they go 6 months later. I think Trump is going to be under tremendous strains as the reality of that he is no longer numero uno begins to settle in. And that's, of course, a very controversial plan. So what's a contingency to Trump dying by the end of 2021? Well, the obvious contingency is he doesn't die. So what happens then? Let's go through some of those scenarios and just do some contingency scenarios. First of all, there's a lot of question, is he going to run a TV network, have Trump News or anything like that? I don't think it's capable. News networks are very complex, sophisticated operations logistically to run. Forget the opinions they put out, just the aspects of coordinating live video and all the scheduling and all the technical things. You need competent management. I don't think Trump has the ability to do that. He's always thrived where he can have small, highly loyal, almost family-based folks in areas where the competent management matters less than your ability to sort of rig the set. I don't think he's going to run a TV network, but maybe he's going to be an opinion commentator on a TV network. OAN, Fox News, though less likely now that they pissed him off. Parler, maybe he's going to be an opinionator, right? Get his own show, do Sean Hannity. Here's the thing. As president, Trump has enjoyed the enormous privilege of being virtually immune from any sort of liability for what he or his supporters are saying. However, since the election, there is this movement called the red slime lawsuits. And this is a major development that I think is going to show why Trump is not going to be as successful a force, at least in shaping opinion through these platforms. And what the red slime lawsuits did is they're called red slime because of the Oprah defamation lawsuits that were about pink slime. But the red slime lawsuits are going after the Trump supporters who say completely untrue things about the elections, verifiably false things, or things that could never be true. And even to the point where they themselves are not putting this in court, but they're making these claims in public about individuals and companies. So Dominion Voting Systems and the other one that there's another election company that's based out, got tied up with Venezuela. They don't even have voting machine operations in the US, but they were getting attacked for rigging the election. And they're like, hello, we have markets abroad. You're hurting our business. We are suing you for defamation and libel. There's a cost to that. And we can prove we have no operations in the US. That is a good lawsuit with a strong chance of winning. This isn't someone saying, well, this is my opinion. These are people stating facts, and these facts are wrong. So any network that wants to host Trump or Trump supporters are going to deal with this liability. Twitter doesn't have to keep him on their platform when he's no longer president. They may just decide, look, the hassle's not worth it. Boop, you're gone. All of these things he's gained from privilege of being the president and the immunity that comes with it go away. So I don't think, he may tone it down, but that kind of that's the only thing I can see the opinion. And the other thing is, if he doesn't die, he's going to be spending a lot of his time with federal and state lawsuits. There's Obviously, New York has a state level lawsuit. The federal lawsuits, there's been a lot of back and forth. We're just now getting the court cases that release some of the materials that the White House has been unwilling to release. Well, the protection that is held ends when President Biden gets inaugurated. Unless they got a shredding machine going, and I don't think they do, a lot of the information that is needed to at least charge these cases, if people want to take it, is going to be found and released in the first year or second year under the existing subpoenas that are out there. Biden can say, hey, there's an existing subpoena from the House. Go ahead and answer that. And he can direct the Department of Justice, no longer defend that case. And so a lot of these lawsuits are going to go forward. Remember, the only things we know about now are from people who are willing to whistleblow and lose their careers over saying what happened in Trump. Once Trump's gone, he can't affect your career. And I bet there's going to be a lot more stuff coming out. So now let's say that all of this, he survives. The big test for Trump's, everyone's worried about 2024. Focus on the midterms. If I'm wrong, the way you'll know I'm wrong is in the primaries for the 2020 midterms. That's going to be January, February, March of 2022. So it's still over a year out. But if Trump is able to influence who wins the primaries in the Republican election by the midterms in 22, he is still a force to be reckoned with. He still has to be taken seriously. I don't think it's going to happen. But that's my forecast, generating a little controversy for your New Year's Eve, being provocative. Let's see, go back to some questions. Lots of good conversation between folks, not going to chat at all. Someone saying, yeah, 2020 New Year's Eve, Q14. There are not 14 quarters. 2020, you may not know this, but from a space-time continuum standpoint, each month in 2020 was like a dog month. It was actually 7 months in real time. That's why it feels so long. Yeah, Valeria saying, see, Humber guy, War on Christmas for the litigation limits on right-wing cranks as entertainment. What will happen to the extremely Christian part of his base? Valeria, they're doing a good job right now of going out and getting infected. So I don't think it will be enough, but they're putting themselves in harm's way. I think the Trump base probably stays with Trump, or at least the momentum that he has stays. But without Trump, the big question is, can Trumpism survive without Trump? And can Trumpism survive without Trump being bombastic? If he dies or somehow muzzled or goes away, I don't know. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be conservative. I think they're going to stay, but it will be. This is where all these tests, this litmus test, watch the 2022 midterm primaries. That's where we see. Laura's saying, I think they'll move on to the next personality and conspiracy theory. Very possible, Laura, but what's going to happen is it's going to fracture. I don't think any other personality can basically be the heir apparent unless it's one of his children and there's like a handoff or whatever you do when you're the Pope or the king and you designate your heir. I don't think there's any one person who can grab the Trump movement and claim it on their own, which means it fractures. And division, conquest by division is an age-old tactic. The more they fragment, you're seeing it now. The biggest fights since probably December 8th, let's call it the safe harbor deadline. By the way, 2020 rhyme of the year, remember the 8th of December, safe harbor deadline to stop. Evidence invented with lawsuits prevented. Yeah, lawsuits prevented with evidence invented, 55 lawsuits Trump's lost. It needs some work. But no, since December 8th, the safe harbor, most of the fighting in the Trump space has been within the Trump and the Republican Party. There's a vicious fight going on right now in Georgia where literally they are going to lose the Senate races because Trump supporters are so mad at Republicans for made up stuff. So they may continue. The question is, are they going to be effective at countering the Democratic Party? Now, in fairness, the Democratic Party has never been known as strong unity, good cohesion, esprit de corps. We won, now let's all work together in happy unity and harmony. No, they're going to go after each other as well, so you may see some of that. But what are my thoughts on the Lincoln Project in conjunction with the Republican Party? Good question, Lisa. In relation to Trump, the Lincoln Project is really focused on Trump, and they're going to have a hard time redefining themselves as being something other than anti-Trump for Republicans. There's still not a lot of Republicans who have bucked Trump, but we're seeing more and more. Romney has been one consistent critic since the impeachment. You've seen a bunch of other ones that are sort of on their way out the door. They're retiring. They say, oh, this is bad, but I'm gone, so good luck. You know, it's interesting right now. There's a real test as who is more strength in the current configuration, Mitch McConnell or Trump. Trump wants $2,000 stimulus checks, and he wants the DOD bill passed. McConnell has stopped the 2,000 in the Senate, and that means he stopped Trump. I don't know how that plays out, but the Lincoln Project is going to have to redefine itself either to save the Republican Party for itself. And again, the litmus test for this, if you want to see if the Lincoln Project remains any momentum as being something other than anti-Trump, watch what they do in the 2022 primaries. Are they a kingmaker for anti-Trump Republicans, the restore the party, take us back from the brink, Romney wing, whatever? Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to follow the InfoMullet, visit us on Facebook or Twitter. And if you'd like notifications when we post new video content, click on the red subscribe button below the video. If you've ever wanted to become a mulleteer and support the InfoMullet, visit us on Patreon. We appreciate the support.